This week's question comes from Ethan, who asks, what should we do with all the garbage? What should we do with all the garbage? I'm reminded of a saying by the medieval natural philosophers, which translated means, in filth it is found. It is found in filth. Now, what did these alchemists think would be found in filth? Well, they were looking for what's called the prima materia. This is like the original uncorrupted substance that they believed they'd have to find first, and then they would subject it to a series of transformations, and then they would achieve the final goal of alchemy, which was the philosopher's stone. Nowadays we think alchemy is just false pre-scientific science. But the psychologist Carl Jung, in the 20th century, in about the year 1930, discovered, or at least he thought he discovered, that alchemy actually reflected important processes of psychological development. So basically, while the alchemists thought that So what the alchemists were saying was, when they said the uncorrupted primal material is found in filth, it is essentially that they believed that you couldn't achieve the goal without sort of embracing garbage or darkness. You have to embrace the stuff that everybody's throwing away. So basically a way of saying, all the stuff everyone thinks is disgusting, that's actually a place where you can begin. That's where you can find the starting point for what Carl Jung calls individuation, which is your own psychological journey towards wisdom. Okay. Now, the question is, what should we do with all the garbage? So the question is, do the alchemists have anything to say to our modern excess of garbage production? And I don't really know. I don't really know if, like, all the litter that's littering the world, the globe, you know, the trash that washes up on all the beaches of the ocean, if we're going to be able to find the primordial, first matter in it. So, hold on. I have to wait till the siren's done. That's the filth. That siren, that's the filth that, you have to embrace everything. So maybe I can find the answer in that siren. Then I'll move on to the idea of, like, original sin. So one of the fundamental Christian beliefs is that people are all sinners. And so in a way, we are the garbage. A lot of environmentalists also believe this. The way they act is to suggest that nature before man was great, and that it was really when people showed up that nature became bad. I'm going to move on to the physical garbage. I have provided links in the description to several documentaries that talk about garbage and what people do with it and what we do with it. One quote from one of the guys in the documentaries was that a well-run landfill is the second best solution to the garbage dilemma that we have. So actually really good landfills are pretty cool. And of course, there's all the typical reuse, recycle, all that. When you worry about, you can worry about the garbage from an engineering perspective, and the engineers they're sort of like dealing with it. There's been an ecological crisis in the oceans, which is called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, in which a huge amount of floating plastic has accumulated in the middle of the Pacific Ocean between Hawaii and the United States, which is just fascinating unto itself, and it would be terrifying, except that in recent years, sort of a Steve Jobs kind of guy, but for cleaning up the oceans. He's basically figured out a way to clean up all the plastic in the ocean. He's his name Boyan Slat, and you should if you watch no other video, watch that one. So we actually appear to have a solution for the ocean garbage, the accumulated plastic in the ocean. But psychologically, I still don't think we've resolved our original sin problem. People simply you don't have to believe, you don't have to be a Christian to sort of implicitly believe in original sin. I think that's sort of where the global warming crisis is rooted. It's that people just want to believe that we're evil. They don't, you know, it's the core desire for people to be this really important thing that is capable of destroying the world. Well, you know, sort of like in the Freudian sense, anal retentiveness is like when you have an anal fixation, it means that you're obsessed with like the shit that you produce, like unconsciously, you're obsessed with the fact that you are a producer of shit. I think that ultimately, I think the global warming's panic is rooted in more or less an anal fixation, which is to say people aren't actually as important as we like to think we are. You can guarantee that even if we completely removed every CO2 emission, the people who are now preaching global warming would preach the end of the world in some other way. But that's, you know, something that requires free speech in order for me to say, because most people wouldn't agree with me. So thank goodness for free speech. If you liked this video, like it, and just tell somebody about it, or I don't know.